Hello and welcome to Question the Truth. This is Impulsive Compulsion. Haven't noticed. Impulsive. Compulsion. It's seems that every now and then one wakes up to recede the consciousness of people. I didn't really ask for that. I spoke about it in the last video, so this is instead about something entirely different. Or rather not. It's part of it. It is the fear of I am. The fear of myself. And this is why I am so emotional. For I've seen let's close that. I've seen what the earlier recedings was or have become. But I need them in order to get to this point. I stated long ago that prophecies are self-induced. Speaking is silver, truth is golden, and love is connection. In Swedish, it's tala är silver, sanning är guld och kärlek är samfund. But the last part there is very different in Swedish from what it is in English. Because love in English is to love one another or be in love with another. Which is kind of what kärlek is. If you divide the word kärlek, it's kär, which is more or less in love, and then lek, which is play. It is a play with another life and yourself. Very interesting, always interesting, because the feelings of oneself is mirrored upon those that are capable of seeing the reflection of self in others. There's many steps in order to come to the conclusion of self-love. I didn't like the idea to begin with, because self-love is egocentric. And if you do not see that you are egocentric, you'll most likely turn down anyone from showing affection, or just don't care about other people at all, because the only one that is of value is self. They don't question themselves, not like I did. Many don't see themselves as egocentric either. I know I'm egocentric, for I am. For without the ego, I would not be. There's a lot of people that want to destroy their ego or detach from the ego. Yeah, I kinda wanted that too. I wanted the ego to die over and over again. So I put myself into situations where I would have to take in perspectives of other people. That is when you start to listen. Listening is not using your ears. It is using perception. It is becoming the other person in one way. Using their words and taking them in to see their perspective far from your own perspective. Those that always speak the truth will always be listened to. And that is what scares me the most. Myself. It. Because it is myself. It's the most scary thing you could ever imagine. And I'm not thinking of it, the clown. I'm thinking of it, myself. Because myself is the it, the fear that creates judgment upon others based upon my values. My values is that all life is equal and all life is sacred. And if you respect life, life will respect in return. And I see that as a really easy core truth. If you disrespect life, you disrespect yourself and others. If your search in life is for respect, then you need to start to respect yourself. And in order to respect yourself, you need to destroy the person you've become. Because it's the ego. It's always been the ego. You think of yourself as righteous. But you cannot be righteous until you see what others see. That is to listen. That is to take in the true sight. It's the most difficult thing to do. And it's really it's easy to dismiss people. And this is what I do not like with the whole world right now. They talk about frequencies. I know that the different densities create strains and resistance. Yeah, I need to go back to kärlek is som är samfund is är. So samfund is finding each other, the differences, and becoming one with these differences without actually becoming the person that you speak with. You take them in just to listen, to understand them, and when the time is right, It will be as if it were your own thoughts. If you do not remember who it was that stated them. I remember almost everything that I've gone through. That's why I'm an observer. And also why I don't know. The only thing I know is that I do not know anything. But still I know everything. And nothing. I've stated it many times that I know nothing, but I know everything. Because I know everything that is of relevance for communication. But I know nothing of most inventions and other things. I know nothing about anything else than suffering and fear. It's self-induced, created by myself. That is what it is. It, the creation of fear and suffering. It is the ego before it is subdued, before you have it under submission, before you learn about yourself. My greatest fear is myself. For it has created realizations of the past that might come to pass again, and that fears me a whole lot. That others would not understand what I'm stating, talking about, suggesting, then using violence to create peace. But you need to find home in order to create peace. You find home with your heart, in your heart, to yourself. But you have to question it. You always have to question it. Yourself. That is what this channel is about. Question the truth. Question the truth of self. And when you do that, you break down slowly. What this breaking down is not killing you, it's killing the ego. It's killing the God in you, the Lord in you, the Lord over others, the God over others, the prideful, the arrogant in you. That is what kills off. It doesn't kill off God, because God is forever. Even if God is an energy or the duality, as long as we respect life, respect ourselves and others, there can't be anything else than good coming out. I've stated that there isn't any good or bad, and a lot of people have gotten angry with me. I got even more afraid of myself, thinking I might be evil. But I am not. I know I am not evil. Most people around me know I am not evil. But the truth is savage. It's always going to be savage. The truth is going to go right through you, pierce your heart, maybe even break it. But if my truth can break your beliefs, then you didn't know the truth, and you didn't have any faith to begin with. You need faith in self to know God. For every smile you see, every tear, every scream you hear, it's part of life. It's the distress, the fear, the suffering that beliefs create. Duality exists, and since duality exists, God is real. For God is the righteous one, the true righteous one. I'm only a righteous one. The true righteous one do never judge. I stated early on that I am the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. And I am going to state to you why that is. I am going to use the law of one to show you the truth of who I am and why I am. For I am the Lord of Lords. For before I am becomes the Lord of Lords, You are a prince. I hate the phone. I hate it because every time my heart is about to burn in passion, I can't talk about it. So, me and I. So, me is the prince, and I is the darkness, the ego, the fear. Well, we together, the ego and me, creates the fear. It, which is the first Lord. Then I and you, the perspective of others that I see, is that you are doing wrong, I am doing right. That becomes the suffering. You see fault in others and you become the suffering. This is the other Lord. So you have we, Lord, and you have suffering, which is the other Lord, us. Then you have the king, for I am the King of Kings. So I am the Lord of Lords, for I am the King of Kings. And I is the ego. And ego is king, and ego is king. So king and king makes I am. Basically, I am I. So we're going to take another here, so I can show you sequentially why I am who I am. I am I. For I am. So I am I, King of Kings. For I, ego, is kings, or king, king and king. King of the king of the negative, king of the positive. You see the positive in others, you see the negative in others. This is the ego speaking. So kings, I am king am I kings. For I am I, for I am. I am. I'm me. I just am. Genuine, truthful, loyal, respectful, righteous, warrior of light, so to speak. For I am, which is the Lord of lords. And the lords are we and us, which is fear and suffering. So, I am I, for I am, which means I am King of kings, the Lord of lords. The Lord over the lords is redemption. Meaning, I am no longer bound by suffering, and I am no longer bound by fear. Only of myself can I bring back fear and suffering. So it is my nemesis, myself. That is why the war is within us, within me. The war is always within me. And the same goes for everyone here, because we are all living in the same distress. We fear others, and we don't realize it's a self-projection. There's a lot of things I cannot state or say. I might be able to help others, maybe. This is my name. my emblem one. I don't know why I'm showing it. Took years for me to understand why it looks like it looks, and I can't state it to others. But it's really important for me. I've spoken to other people, and sometimes I talk a lot, say a lot of things, and others don't really want to listen to me, for they state that what I say is not interesting. That isn't really my problem. If you deem that what I state is not interesting, that is entirely on you. If you do not see any relevance in what I state, that is also all on you. I usually state things that others do not like. And only the righteous will understand, or rather see and foresee what I see. I came to accept the ego instead of trying to shove it away. Back to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, or Lord of Lords and King of Kings. I am that because the darkness is the suffering and the fear. So I am the Lord of the darkness. I've overcome my own darkness. In one way, but still really emotional. I'm partly afraid. For I state that when all come to the same conclusion, which is one for all for one, you must take in all for one in order to become one for all. And when all are one for all, everyone will then start to work towards one goal: to free all. And we're already there. We're doing it right now. We've always doing it. We've always done it. In one way or another. People want to help others. But one man's heaven is another one's hell. I know there's more out there. I know we cannot be savage. Only live by speaking the truth to self and others. That is how we mature. Mature to become mature enough to meet other civilizations and other cultures with open arms instead of trying to make war with them. For the only enemy we have is ourselves. When it comes to the whole egocentric part, that you are your own world and everything revolves around you. That is the perspectives that you have towards others. And everything is about you because you are limited to not take in the other people's perspective. The book of life is how should I state it? It's the philosophy of life, how to live. That is what the book of life is about. to see past the judgment and find redemption in the truth of others, rather the truth of self. And God will smite you. Yeah, I'm gonna write that up. The whole thing with not speaking the Lord's name in vain is not to judge others, because you are not the Lord of Lords, because you succumb to fear and suffering. Well, when you stand up to yourself and stop being a fascist, which is listen to the fascist, and the fascist will listen to the fascist. Only then will you start to become Lord of Lords, King of Kings, which is the Lord of Darkness with yourself. You will never be a lord over another person, because others are not your slaves. And as long as your mind is free, slavery isn't anything else than a fear of death. And death is part of life, so life is the only option, and that is why I do not choose anything else than life. Life is the only option. Till the day that you deem it's ready for you to go to the next. The suicide is the option for those that do not see past the suffering and the fear. It took me many years to figure that out. And many stupid attempts to flee the reality that I saw. As long as you see a negative reality, you will be living in a negative reality. You will live in hell till the day you stop seeing suffering, till the day you stop live in fear. I know that I am the only one that can create fear. That's why I am not afraid. But instead, I feel the fear of others. I try not to react to it. But it's not easy. One day, perhaps, I might be in the right tune. Or I am already in that tune. Let's see. I spoke about fascism, listening, speaking, truth. I know it was something that I was supposed to write down. Should have done that when I thought about it. It's not like the thoughts will not come across again. They always do, if they're important. Well, I am talking and looking out the window, so when you have the how should I state it? You live by your values. You live with the thought of what you think is okay and not. And others do the same. I don't condone. Wait. I dislike murder a whole lot. But also I see the person either in suffering or fear or in anger, which is all uncontrollable if you do not have an impulse control. You need to control yourself. Let's see. For I state that anger is an angel crying, not heard by many, and therefore releasing the anger upon others just to get them to listen. That's why I want to take care of people, but oh, funny. Ha ha. Yeah, I was thinking of Vikings. why is... Yeah. First off, there is no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. Usually it's subconscious. I thought of myself as important and I have become important. Therefore I am. And still, I don't want it. I don't know how to express it because I see it as if I know too much of the mind. Still, I know too little. And I've been thinking about the whole thing of manipulation. Manipulation is, I want my reality to be your reality. That is manipulation. Not all manipulation is bad. But if you let's state it like this: if you disregard others when you choose to do something, then you disrespect yourself, and when you disrespect yourself, you are manipulating other people. It's that easy. If it is for a benefit of all, then it is probably the right thing to do. That is why I see this society as so interesting. For scary movies and all of that, it vanquishes fear. You stop being afraid of the illusions created. Mostly I laugh at, I see scary movies as comedy. Not because of the bad... I don't know how to state it. It's not like it's funny to look at a monster going around killing. It's more like I don't take it seriously. It's more like we take a monster and we paint it up to be this really disgusting, ugly creature that wants to kill everything without any logical explanation. But it's always explained in one or another way. The more we learn, the more perspectives we take in, the more we see of those we fear, that's why I don't have any enemies. Not even myself as an enemy. Not anymore. I can create how much fear I want for myself, but it's not going to change anything about me. Because we don't change. We mature. It's like a flower. From a seed it grows and it blooms. It did never change, it just matured. I've stated that I am a Buddha. For a Buddha is a maturing well of knowledge. Or blooming well of knowledge. Or wisdom. Kind of. It's all in the mindscape. It's always been in the mindscape. And I thought about the biblical stories. And I stated, well, I didn't state it, I saw in the biblical stories that before the snake there was no fear and suffering. The snake was never evil. It just gave new perspectives. It's how should I state it? It's we take the Adam and Eve story and we have the snake as within the body. You have 3 parts of the brain. You have the logical, you have the creative, which is the masculine and the feminine. And then you have the reptilian brain, which is the subconscious brain, where the ego resides. The one that wants to dominate others. It's basically that the reptilian brain stem is not inactive. It's the more it's the more active part of the brain, and then goes out, it blooms within others. And when we combine the perspectives, the mind, to become one with itself, that is when growth starts. That is when maturity starts. That is when we go back to not live in fear and suffering again. Most like children. For children are in no sense of what they are doing. It is when we grow up that we take from our past and learn of the new. It's kind of amazing. There will be a whole lot of people that will be lost in themselves, lost to others. I've been lost to others. It's nothing wrong with cold. I need to eat something. Oh. I'm starting to get cold. So, I easily get cold sometimes, but my heart is warm. That's because of the motion. The slower the heart goes, with the most resistance, well, it's difficult to you need to find a balance. If you don't find a balance, you will become destructive of self and others. And it's very important to have strong self-control. I was thinking about the whole fasting thing. It's about training self-control. It's never been about anything else. But what kind of self-control is that, even? You control your hunger. That's only your hunger. But when you think about it, you have probably been controlling yourself for a long time, and you should keep on doing that. But you need also to know that the judgment that you place upon others is the fear of self. It is your values. It is your fears. It's your suffering that you place upon others. It's the box that we don't need. It's time to close it. Or rather, probably better to just open it. For I heard in a story that within that box, somewhere in the bottom, hope resides. That is why I created the Star of Hope, which is the pentagram of protection and the pentagram of lusts. Together they become home. I've been thinking of the father of all lies and stuff like that. We ourselves are the father of lies. Not I. Not me in this person. You are. And everyone around you. Because you see lies instead of seeing the truth that they speak of. But don't question others. You need to question yourself first. What is your perspective of the whole thing? How do you understand this? What did you learn from the experience you had? I don't like putting this out, this openly on the internet. It's going to be misinterpreted, and that is my biggest fear. Misinterpretation. Because it was misinterpretation that started all the wars and all the judgment. Start off by reading the Torah or the Quran or the Bible or anything in that way. Start reading it and read it as if you are the person. You're reading about yourself. Notice how you feel when you read it. Question that feeling. Question those thoughts. Listen to those thoughts. Listen to those feelings. That is why they were created. As is mine. This one here, the universal balance, needs to get destroyed because it's in plastic and having faulty texts will create more suffering than anything else. So I need to destroy this one. And I already made a video about the universal balance. Oh yeah, I can't do that right now. There's things in here that is not fully I have not been fully capable of taking it in. Now I am, so I can see it for what it is, and this work here is not complete, so I need to rewrite it and rewrite it and then release it to the public again. I just need to remember where I uploaded the old one. God and duality and life and everything, it's so easy. It's really, really simple and easy. But we create, we make it complex. The more complex it is, the less you see of it, or rather the more you see of it, your fears, and the less you see of the truth. Truth of self and others. There's a lot of truths and there's a lot of fears and other things. I don't judge earlier prophets. They did what they could in the limited understanding or the limited perception of perspection. In their limited ways, they did not understand all that they needed to understand. So they understood it. And they took advantage of it. Well, they didn't. Really, they couldn't take advantage of it. That's the whole thing with it. They cannot be judged because they wouldn't see the fate of what they caused. While I can see the peaceful future, the shortcomings of man will probably come again. As it's been many times before. I chose, well, rather, how should I put it? I had a girlfriend, and I don't know really, but she wanted to become a piercer, so I let her pierce me. And when I did that, I got this snake bite. I also have something that my relatives call the skin because I tend to put it on and have it on whenever I'm cold, and it's made out of wool, so it's basically sheep's clothing. But I am not interested in controlling other people. But still, it's basically manipulating, even there. Those that will understand will have come to become themselves, to become I am of their own. It's not a disregard of God. God is the duality that we live in. Either you see one side of it or the other, or you take the middle road as I did, and you don't choose a side. Because when you choose a side, you create enemies. You create good and evil. You create everything that you think is right and what is wrong. But God only has one core rule. And it's growth. Well, it's the mind's growth and the love's growth and the emotional growth. And in combination it becomes respect of self and respect of others. And we come to that level of there's no word for it. You just am, like me. And you stop judging. One of the most difficult things to stop doing. But that is how you regain redemption. It's in the Torah, but the Torah communicates in between worlds. Communicates with two sides. The religious and the spiritual. When you see religion for what it is, a self-centered creation of, well, trying out the law of one in a wrongful meaning. Trying to make everyone the one and the same. Trying to have everyone live by one rule of one truth, which is basically what I am doing. When I seek equality and freedom, but I do not seek I just hope that other people will take what I state as the truth of all the life philosophies. truth behind the life philosophies and why we have them. For it started with one person or one pair of people that came to the realization that there was more to us than we were willing to see. From that came duality, what is wrong and what is right. And later on, more and more learned about themselves and what's suffering and fear created. And suffering created things we did not like. So that is why we are against murder. If life is the only choice for everyone to have less suffering, it doesn't mean that we live forever. The spirit of us always lives forever, but this world is not meant for this body to live forever. It's meant to have an extended time of experience, and then let someone else have that experience. I could sit here and talk forever, but I should not do that. I would be wasting your time. I hope that, what I've been talking about has been interesting enough, and that it's not just some empty words. Find home and stop attacking others. When you find your home, which is your heart, with the acceptance of yourself, you need to learn that you are egocentric. You need to learn that you're a narcissist. And in order to love others and accept others and see others as friends and not foe, you must first realize that you are the cause of the enemies you see. And when you stop seeing enemies, there's nothing else than friends out there. both here on earth and outside. Waiting for us to mature, basically. As long as we make war with ourselves and others, no one will contact us. And no one, you'll know who is when the time is right. For no one is he who wakes all, and I am the one that ensures the growth of all. I make it easy, or easier. The day that you realize that you are nothing, that you are no one, you are nobody, that is the day you will start to become yourself. That is the day you become I am. But first, you need to meet nobody. And start to love that version of yourselves too. Always been nobody. And I want to kind of still be my no one. Those are the flood story and Noah. Didn't happen as people think. I shouldn't state more than this. I feel I'm too dangerous. For myself. And some truths are not meant to be released just yet. One and one is one. One and one is phi. 2 plus 2 is 1. That is the binding of the law of one. Thank you for listening and watching. See you in a later moment.